Hello class, today we're going to continue on with the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane, chapter 10. Before we start reading the book, I want to go over just a couple of vocabulary words. One word is skivvy. This is a very old-fashioned word. It's an adjective usually applied to a poorly paid maid, someone who does very kind of tough, low-paying work, and kind of means also like a little bit crazy, a little bit off your rocker. So if someone asks, have you gone skivvy? That means, are you crazy? What are you thinking? That kind of thing. Another word we're going to see in this chapter is bewitched. And when you look at the word bewitched, it's got the root word of it of witched, of witch. And we know that witches can put spells on people. So to bewitched is an adjective which means to be put under a spell or enchanted. So if you are bewitched, you are the person that the witch put the spell on. So let's go ahead and go on and get started reading chapter 10. Lolly was a lumpy woman who spoke too loudly and who wore too much lipstick. She entered the house and immediately spotted Edward sitting on the living room couch. "What's this?" she said. She put down her suitcase and picked Edward up by one foot. She held him upside down. "That's Susanna," said Nellie. "Susanna!" shouted Lolly. She gave Edward a shake. His dress was up over his head and he could see nothing. Already he had formed a deep and abiding hatred for Lolly. "Your father found her," said Nellie. She came up in a net, and she didn't have no clothes on her, so I made her some dresses." "Have you gone skivvy?" shouted Lolly. "Rabbits don't need clothes." "Well," said Nellie. Her voice shook. "This one seemed to." Lolly tossed Edward back on the couch. He landed face down with his arms over his head and his dress still over his face. He stayed that way through dinner. "Why have you got out that old high chair?" shouted Lolly. "Oh, don't you pay it no mind," said Nellie. "Your father was just gluing on a missing piece, wasn't you, Lawrence?" "That's right," said Lawrence, without looking up from his plate. Of course, after dinner, Edward did not go outside and stand beneath the stars to have a smoke with Lawrence. And Nellie, for the first time since Edward had been with her, did not sing him a lullaby. In fact, Edward was ignored and forgotten about until the next morning, when Lolly picked him up again and pulled his dress down away from his face and stared him in the eye. "Got the old folks bewitched, don't you?" said Lolly. "I heard the talk in the town, that they'd been treating you like a rabbit child." Edward stared back at Lolly. Her lipstick was a bright and bloody red. He felt a cold breeze blow through the room. Was a door open somewhere? "Well, you don't fool me," she said. She gave him a shake. "We'll be taking a trip together, you and me." Holding Edward by the ears, Lolly marched into the kitchen and shoved him face down in the garbage can. "Ma!" Lolly shouted. "I'm taking the trunk. I'm going to head on out and do some errands." "Oh," came Nellie's tremulous voice. "That's wonderful, dear. Goodbye, then." "Goodbye," thought Edward, as Lolly hauled the garbage can out to the truck. "Goodbye," Nellie called again, louder this time. Edward felt a sharp pain somewhere deep inside his china chest. For the first time, his heart called out to him. It said two words: Nellie. Lawrence. So I wonder what that means, that he felt a sharp pain somewhere deep inside his china chest. Does that mean that he's feeling an emotion that he hasn't felt before? You know, sometimes we say to someone, "My heart hurts," or "Oh, that makes my heart hurt." And then it says, for the first time, his heart called out to him. And it said two words: Nellie and Lawrence. So does that mean that he's feeling something that he's never felt before? That Edward is changing from how he was at the beginning of the book? We'll find out more when we go on to chapter 11.